the High-Tech Nomad here, and it's going to be another marathon session here. And that's because I want to make sure you guys understand how to do this. So we're going to actually, what our goal is we're going to make it so that with our Gear 3 smartwatch, I think you can also do this with the Gear 2 and maybe even the original Gear. With our smartwatch, we're going to make it so that we can control this Conico smart plug, which is the same, by the way, as the Akface. Basically, if you have a smart plug that looks like this, it's all made by the same company, and that's actually something that we're going to talk about. So again, I want to show you actually everything step by step. So this is going to take a few minutes. So while you're waiting, while you're getting yourself a cup of coffee, let me remind you to please hit the like button, please hit the subscribe button. That's so important these days. Okay, so let's get started here. All right, so we have our Conico Akface, and we're going to go ahead and plug this in. Okay, so again, I uninstalled and gone right from scratch. So if you just bought one of these, either the Conico or the Akface, this is what it's going to do. It's going to blink to basically tell you that you have to pair it up with your Wi-Fi system. You have to figure out what you're going to do. All right, so we're going to take our phone, and the first thing you're going to want to do is if you have other software, that you were told to load for this, we want to turn that software off. So for example, if you saw my first video about the Conico, you were probably told to load the GenVu Smart. Well, now we don't need that. So we're going to go ahead and uninstall the GenVu Smart. If you had some other one, again, the Akface has their own. And the reason for that is that these are actually all been made by the same company, and the parent company has a piece of software, and that's what we're going to use. Okay? So that's the first thing that we did. So we want to actually go ahead and load the piece of software that we want, which is called Smart Life. Okay, and that's from, I believe that's pronounced Tuya, T-U-Y-A. Okay, Tuya. And we're going to go ahead and install that. Hold on for 1 second. Oh, that's right. I have it in airplane mode so that no one would disturb this special time that you and I have. So I turn that off, so we at least need to turn Wi-Fi back on, or we're not going to get very far. Okay, so that's going to go ahead and do that. And that was some detective work that I was able to do and able to come up with and find out that all of these units that look exactly the same but have different brand names on it are all made by the same company, and all, or at least all have the same firmware. They all have the same design. And this Tuya is this Smart Life from Tuya is very important to us. And why, you might ask? And that is because we're going to be using IFTTT, which I've showed you in another video. And IFTTT it hooks up different pieces together, and Smart Life is part of that. So that's why we're going to be able to do that. We can't do that with the supposedly you could do it with the GenVu, but let's just go with the Smart Life. And again, if you have a unit that looks like this, then we should be all set. So again, I'm going to try and do as much of this in real time as I possibly can. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and open it. And I'm just waiting for this. I just want to see if it... Okay, so you have a choice. You can log in or you can register. I'm going to log in. Register means I have to put in a username and a password and a whole bunch of other stuff. Which I don't mind doing, but you don't really have to. What you can do is you can sign in with this SMS, and what they do is they basically just ask you for your phone number. So I'll put in my phone number, and you click on sign in with SMS, and then they're going to just text me a code, and then I put in that code. So that's a good two-step authentication. Okay. That's a good two-step authentication. I'm just waiting for the code to come back now, because that means that, okay, let's get rid of come in. Okay, so that means that even if somebody had my username and password, they won't be able to get in, because the only way they can get in is if they have my phone and they put in that code and password. So we're just going to wait for that. There's a little when you do that, it's a little so. And also, for those of you who are concerned about signing up with this, that, and the other, you never have to sign up. So my code is 209040. So I'm going to go ahead and do all that. 209040. Thank you. And I have just received a text message, which, by the way, I'll put a link for that down the bottom. There's a website called Fiverr, and on Fiverr there are people who will do things for $5. And I paid someone $5 to say 5 different sentences. So it was $1 sentence. So I gave him $5. He said 5 different sentences in that British accent. And then those are what play now. So it has things like when I get a text message, it says, "Excuse me, sir, I have a text message." You have an email that's of some importance, and someone's trying to call you on the phone. So, and I have another one. So I did that one, and then I actually did another one where the person calls me by name. "Excuse me, Orman, you have a text message." So that's kind of a cutie thing. All right, so we're in the Smart Life. We're going to click on Add Devices, and it's going to go off and look. It says, "Do you want to scan it?" We know what it is. It's an electrical outlet. And it says, "Confirm that the light is blinking," which it is. I'm going to click on that. And it now wants to talk to, it actually knows my Wi-Fi piece. I'm going to go ahead and put the password in for my Wi-Fi. And now it's going to give this PowerStrip access to my Wi-Fi. That's all you have to do. So for those of you who didn't see my other video when I showed how easy it was to hook these up, and bada boom, bada bing, bitty boop. You can see if you can off to the side there, you can see that the dial is changing colors. It's blinking differently. It's blinking rapidly. It is now solid. It's at 27%. Takes a few minutes sometimes for it to do it, but it has not failed me yet. My Wi-Fi signal, by the way, is Thunderbirds. Thunderbirds, for those of you who know the Thunderbirds, which was a popular series when I was a kid. Okay, and now that's done. And you can see it says Smart Bar. It says, "What else do you want to do?" I'll say nothing. I hit done. And now we have the Smart Bar. And it should say, as you can see, it says USB, and then it says Doghouse Light 1, Lawn Sprinkler 3, 4, 5. That's because I renamed them earlier, and it obviously kept that. But at this point, we can now control this. So this is all off. This is all on. And let's actually put, my son is going to be very upset when he realizes I stole his nightlight. I don't even know if you guys can even see that. That was supposed to be the way that we could tell things were working, but I don't think that's gonna, yeah, you can't see that at all. All right, well, if this was at all running, we'll have to get like a fan or something like, okay, so let me look around here. Do I have anything? Boy, I got nothing I can even, oh, I have it. I can plug this studio light into here. And again, I'm just doing all this in real time. Okay, there we go. So that's studio light. So you now will be able to see. So if I turn it off, let's go ahead and turn it off. There we go. Off, on, off, on. Okay. All right. So part one of this is done. So now we have to connect Smart Life to our IFTTT account. So let's do this. So I talked about this in another video, which is IFTTT, which is a great website. It allows you to very easily control two or more things. If this particular condition happens, then do this, and that's what we're going to use. So I'm going to go ahead and log in, and I'm going to go to Services, and it shows me a few basic services that it has. I'm going to go to All Services. I'm going to keep muddling along. And we're going to type in Smart, S-M-A-R-T, and you'll see that we have a bunch of smart pieces, but the one that we really want is Smart Life. And it says, okay, we want to use Smart Life, so we're going to say connect. And it goes through that same process. It says put in your phone number. I'm just done. And now I click on SMS login. And it defaults to China. I think we all know why. This is all made in China, but that's all right. So we'll scroll our way down till we get to the United States, which should be a 1. Actually, I guess we just start typing United States. USA, is that what it is? USA? USA, okay. It says put in my phone number again. And you'll see it now says Smart Life or Genvu Smart. As I said, you could use the Genvu Smart, but you're better off using just use the Smart Life. So let's go ahead and just click on Smart Life. It says get code. I'm waiting for the code to come through on my phone. Okay, so we have our code. Our code is, I can read you the code because the code changes every night. It's 419931. We'll say confirm. We'll say authorize. And bada boom, bitty boop, bada bing, Bob's your uncle. So now IFTTT Smart Life knows how to talk to the cloud. The cloud knows how to talk to your switch. So we are 1/3 of the way there. So we now have a way of talking to our switch. Now, let's sort of just kind of come up with something here. So the next thing we have to talk about is how are we going to get a signal? How are we going to how are we going to trigger the condition that turns on the switch? And under IFTTT, we have a number of different things. So we could actually use, you could use a bunch of different things right now. So for example, let me just say my applet, let's just say new applet. I could set any number of different things. So for example, it is 8:13. So I could say every hour, every day, every month, every year. Okay, that's not going to do it. We don't want to do it. We don't want to do it at that. Every just trigger once at the 45 minutes. This tries every time. This trigger fires every single day at a specific time. Okay, so we'll just use that for right now. So we will say 8. Could be quick now. I'm going to say 8, and it's 8:14. We'll call it 8:16 just because it's going to take me a while to do this. So we're going to say 8. Oh wow, you can only trigger it on the half hours. All right, we're gonna have to go with 15, and we're gonna have to be quick because I don't think we're gonna make it. Okay, so what happens at 8:15? We'll click on that. We'll type in SMART smart. We'll click on Smart Life. We gotta be quick, and we want it to turn off. Quick. We want it to turn off number 4. Create action. Hurry, quick, and hit finish. Woo. Okay. So every day at 8:15. We may have missed it, we may not have missed it, I'm not sure. So every day at 8:15, this will turn off switch 4. So at the very least, we can control it that way. So we'll give it a few seconds. I don't know if we made it in time. I think we made it in time, but we'll give it a second. I will just aimlessly talk here. So again, that's what's the problem with doing these live like this. But in any event, you get the idea. So 8:15, it's on 8:15. Did we make it? I think we did. There we go. Okay, so it's that easy. You now see that we can set up an IFTTT. Let's go ahead and turn that off, and then we'll delete it. We can set up an IFTTT, and we can set it to turn on one of those switches or turn off one of those switches, etc., etc., etc. All right.
Have care that head shall never be higher than mine. When I shall sit, you shall sit. When I shall kneel, you shall kneel, etc., etc., etc.
So we have to figure out how we're going to trigger that condition. Well, we're going to use something, and this seems very complex, but it's really not. We're going to trigger it using something called Webhook. Now, webhooks used to be called IFTTT Maker. Don't worry about the thing. It's just, I want to make sure you know both words, because some places it still says Maker and some places it says Webhooks. All it is a super secret website that only you have the password to get into, and it just sits there and waits. And we can send messages there. And if it sees a message, it will then react to that message based upon what we do. So we're going to go to New Applet. Now, if this happens, and we're going to say webhooks, and we're going to say connect, and it's going to go through this whole big thing, and now it's created a unique webhook key. Now I set up a separate website just for you guys because I want you to be able to see what happens. Now see where it says receive request. It says, what words am I waiting for? What are the passwords? What do you want me to do? And we're going to say switch. I usually type the whole thing out, so when I look at them later, I know what's going on. Switch for on. Okay, and we'll click on create trigger, and when it receives switch for on, what do we want it to do? Okay, when it would switch for on, we know we want it to go to Smart Life. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do, and it says it's a low power charger, but we'll deal with it. Okay, so what we want it to do is we want it to turn on, and again, it automatically lists all of the switches we had, so we want it to turn on switch 4. Okay. Now, what is Maker? What is that Maker thingamabob? What is that? Well, let's go back to the webhooks for a second, and let's click on documentation. Now again, this is why I'm using it on a test one. So that long, ridiculous your key is, that's the key. That's the special key that it randomly generates for each individual, which is why I had to set up a separate account, because I wanted to show you guys this. So this key is specific to me, specific for this, and when it gets when someone goes to the website maker.ifttt.com/trigger, says a certain word with this key, with that large key, that will trigger the condition. Okay, so the condition the words that we want to send it are switch for on, and you'll see it made a ridiculously long URL down here, and we will just go ahead and highlight this ridiculously long URL. Okay, so at this point, if you paste that in a blank URL, you say paste that, and you go to that site, there you go, light comes on. Okay, it's that simple. Now, obviously, if we want to turn it off, we have to make a separate one. So let's make another one now. Let's go back. Let's do a new applet. And we know what we want it to do. We want it to be a webhook. And we've said we want webhook, and it says, what is the message what should I be listening for? And we're gonna say switch for off. It says, okay, when that comes in, what do you want me to do? We're gonna go to that. We're gonna say to smart. Okay, we're at smart, and we're gonna say turn off. And it says, which one do we want to turn off? And we say number 4. And we're going to say create that action, and we're going to say finish, and it's the same long ridiculous URL we just had. It's just instead of where we have switch for on, we would just write switch for off. We click on that, and if the Lord is with us and the river don't rise, that should turn that off. There we go. Okay, so it takes a couple of minutes sometimes. So we now have switch 4 on, switch 4 off. That will turn off the pieces, and we're using the webhook. Okay, are you with me thus far? If you're not, back up and go through it. That's why I wanted to do it in real time. All right, so now we want to go back to, our phone. Okay, and we're going to go to Galaxy Apps, and we're going to look for an app called Triggers. Triggers under Galaxy Gear. You see it says IFTTT standalone, and it's $1.99. So you're going to go ahead and give him $1.99. Hold on for 1 second. So after the program Triggers was loaded on our gear, it automatically prompts you to load it onto your phone, and it goes to the iTunes Store or the Galaxy App Store, and it loads that on. So we now have a program called Triggers on our phone, which automatically talks to the triggers on our watch. That's how it gets from one to the other. So when we get into Triggers, the first thing it asks us is set up your IFTTT, maker key, master key, webhook key. It's all the same key. So what I did is I emailed myself that really long URL, switch 4 on with the really long URL. And as you can see, I actually even sort of broke it out. It always, so it's going to look just like this, and it says with key, and then after that is the key. So that is the key. That's the magic piece. So I'm going to copy that, and I go to set up my IFTTT account. Because remember now, everything else is the same for everybody on the planet. It knows where to go. It just doesn't know the key. So that's why we put in our own key. There we go. We got our own key. That's all it needs. So now this program knows how to talk to IFTTT through that connection that we have. So now we come back out here, and it says, okay, what do you want to do? So we come to the plus key. The name of the event is where it has event. That's the words, those are the words that are going to show up on our Gear watch, okay? So I can say switch 4 off. Oof. Switch 4 off, or I could just say switch off, or if I had the toaster plugged in there, I could just say toaster off, all right? You get the idea. This is just the name that shows up. This can be whatever we want. I suggest you keep it short because you don't have a whole lot of space on that thing, so you might say switch off, okay? That's what we're gonna call for right now. Now, this part is the information that it's gonna pass to IFTTT. This has to match exactly what we have in IFTTT. I say I always do the same thing. I use lowercase letters, I spell the whole thing out, and I don't have any spaces. So for this one, it would be switch 4 off. Does that make sense? It says, do you want to save it? Yep. So it's going to say switch 4 off. When I click on that on my watch, that's going to go ahead and send to our webhook, switch 4 off. Let's go ahead and do switch on. Again, I can say whatever I want. Whatever it is. Toaster. I have trouble with that. Okay, toaster on, but I have to have that correct key. So that would be switch 4 on. Okay. And that's it. Now we're going to go to our watch and see what we get. Now I can do things like go to the trigger program. Find which one I want. In this case, we'll do switch 4 and we'll turn it on. And there we go. And we can, of course, turn it off. Okay. So not only can I do that, I can do that with any of the smart devices that I have in the house. So for example, The other great thing that I love about using this platform and this device and this setup is that by going into my Amazon Alexa and just enabling that skill, not only can I use my watch, but I can use my Amazon Echo. Alexa, turn on switch 4. Alexa, turn off switch 4.
Okay.
Now, last thing I want to talk about before we end this video is, this is nice, this is great. I showed you why this is absolutely fantastic. I now showed you why you can use this with your phone and your watch. But if I didn't want, what if I want to control these lights? Now remember, this was whatever it was, I think it was 27, this is 27. But anyway, what if I don't want to put this big, huge thing, or I don't want to put another one of those big modules, but I want to do something like control my Christmas lights, okay? I don't want to spend $27 to put this one place so I can have it, so I can just do that. Well, in our next video, we're going to be taking a look at this. This is the Sonoff Wi-Fi switch. I'll give you a little sneak peek. And this is a game changer. Basically, this is a Wi-Fi switch. It's one of these, but you have to put the wires in yourself. I'm going to show you how to do that. Not a big deal, but essentially what we're going to do is we're going to take this, we're going to cut it here, we're going to put 2 wires in here, we're going to put 2 wires in here, and this is what we're going to end up with. But what that's now going to give us is that we can now say, turn on Christmas lights, turn off Christmas lights. The Christmas lights will turn on, they'll turn off. If we want to, we'll be able to push this little button to turn them on and off. And obviously, since all the rest of the lights will be plugged in here, that will be it. So why is it so fantastic? These things are less than $5. So for less than $5, I'm going to show you how to use this device. And you can hook them in line with any number of different things. So for example, I'm going to be hooking these in line for $5. I'm going to hook these in line with the studio lights. So I can just turn the studio lights on and off either by my watch, by my phone, or simply say something like, Alexa, turn on studio lights, and all the studio lights will come on and off. I might actually put, I could put one for each light and say, Alexa, turn off studio light 1, turn on studio light 2, make a group, turn them all on, turn them all off. You get the point. So that's going to be the next video, the Sonoff $5 Wi-Fi switch. Really cool, really cool. Some things that we're going to be able to do with that. Until the next time, this is the High Tech Nomad signing off.